ever put glue on your hands and let it dry and pick it off? I wasn't really the type to do that because I think when I was younger especially, I was afraid. I didn't know what glues were like okay to touch and what weren't. So I remember kids putting like Elmer's glue on their hands and I'd be like, you shouldn't touch that. Because I was aware that some glues or some other things could be like toxic to you, especially back in the day. There were more things that were toxic. And I'd be like, do you know what's in that? Like, I didn't understand, you know, when I was younger that certain types of glue are like absolutely made for kids to touch because they know they're going to do it. You know what I mean? So I remember I like never did that because I was like, there's toxicity. And you remember, you know, like I was paranoid. There were certain adhesives and things that I remember my dad having that he would, you know, he would be like, yeah, don't ever touch this one. Like, do not. And I just like didn't know what was that and what wasn't that. So I just, I was like, you can't touch any of them. So I actually like never did the glue on hand, peel it off thing because I didn't trust any of it. So paranoid that I would like die from it. Do you remember when you were a kid, the bottles were labeled as non-toxic yet? Yeah, there was a time period where at some point they started making things non-toxic or labeling them as non-toxic or doing standards for that or whatever, when they realized that you couldn't stop people from having certain things in the classroom. But before that, they were toxic and they'd be like, just have the teachers have them take care of it, have them teach the kids. But no, they would hand glue sticks to like 3-year-olds. So, you know, your mom taught you not to touch chemicals by taking you into the lab, and she would show you the hole in the floor where one of the grad students spilled something. Yeah. I remember in high school, I had a science teacher, chemistry guy, who had above his desk, like, you know those ceiling tiles that a lot of schools have, a lot of buildings have because they're easy to replace, those ceiling tiles. He had those, they kind of look like foam. And one of the ones above his desk just had this huge like circle, looks like an explosion scorch mark. And that stuff was just like eaten away and melted, and it looked like it was just destroyed above his desk. And he was like, remember, kids, don't touch these things, don't touch those things. I thought it was so funny, dude. We all understood. We were like, okay, it's not the way. And we shouldn't be touching these things. You've seen kids eat whole glue sticks. Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes the colors or the way they look, it looks like food. I noticed recently the glue sticks mostly, and this might just be me, I feel like they're mostly purple now instead of white or clear. I feel like they're mostly purple. And I wonder if it's because purple is not automatically a food color, right? Maybe candy, but it makes you think. Whereas something that's just white, it looks like a cheese stick or something, right? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's purely purple so you could see it on white paper. I don't know. But I wonder if there's like a reason, right? You stole magnesium from your secondary school with the intent to play with it? Oh my God. Yeah, no, I've mentioned this before. My dad, when he was young, was doing something stupid, and some other kids were playing literally with fire with like kerosene and being dumb, and he has really bad burns up his legs. So I've talked about how he's like skin grafts on like the backs of his thighs and stuff. Is mostly 2nd-degree burns and everything. So he would show me that when I was little, and he would be like, this is why you don't do XYZ, and I would literally see like his cooked legs, you know. So I'd be like, okay. I was made really wary of that stuff pretty early. Yeah, the butt skin. Yeah, they grafted skin from his butt when he was a kid, and they put that on there. And then he'd make it weird every time. He'd be like, that's my butt skin. From when I was a kid. Remember a kid biting into one of those gel pens? Oh, ooh. I remember, it was an eraser. It was just an eraser. And they, you know, some erasers are scented. Not very common, but especially back in the day, everything was scented with school supplies because they thought it was cool or whatever. New tech, scratch and sniff things, you know, whatever. I remember some kid having a scented eraser, and it just smelled so good. And he would just sit there and bite it and like drool. Like he'd just be like chewing it, and he, you know, smelling it through his nose, so you'd get like the faux flavor. You know, when you smell something and you're just drinking water, the water almost feels like it tastes like that because those senses are kind of crossing in that moment. He'd be doing that with the eraser, just chewing on it and sniffing it, and he'd just be drooling so hard. Oh, it's so bad. Gross, dude. Gross. And he would just like chew on that thing like crazy. He'd like bite down through it. He had one spot in it where he'd bite through it constantly, and I was like, that's... You can't save some people, you know?